But the most exciting aspects about Megan are the features still to come.
Perhaps then you might appreciate just how useful I can be.
The movie opens with an ad for the toy, the Perpetual Pets. They're designed to look like real pets, but with smart upgrades. Talk back, take photos, and connect to a custom app where kids can feed them and make them poop. They come in 6 different colors, each with its own personality, setting the tone for toy company Funky's high-tech world. Nicole and Ryan are driving on a snow-covered road while their daughter Cady sits in the back, completely absorbed in her perpetual pet. Nicole grows increasingly irritated, asking Cady multiple times to turn the toy off, worried about how addicted she's become.
Honestly, what is the purpose of a toy if you have to play with it on an iPad?
She briefly vents about her sister Gemma, who works at Funky, and gifted the toy to Cady. The car hits a patch of heavy snow and begins to lose control. They stop in the middle of the road to figure out what to do next, when suddenly a snow truck slams into them head-on. Cole, Gemma's co-worker, walks through the Funky offices carrying a package. The office is busy and lively, with multiple people, both young and old, testing new products in the sprawling campus. Gemma is in her lab with Tess, frustrated that she's being made to work on the Perpetual Pets toy instead of her other project. Cole walks in and slams the package onto the table. Cole takes a silicone face out of the package and places it onto a 4-foot-tall robot that's hooked up to several computers. They begin running tests, trying to make the robot display specific facial expressions.
Happy, sad, confused.
The robot malfunctions during the test, and Gemma is left wondering what's causing the issue. David, Gemma's boss, walks in and is furious that she hasn't built a simpler version of the Perpetual Pets toy like he had asked her to. He informs her that a competitor called Fur Z has already released a similar product and is eating into their profits. Gemma pushes back, arguing that the only way to beat the competition is to build something so advanced that it can't be copied, and she decides to demonstrate Megan.
Megan?
Model 3 generative android. Megan.
As Gemma and Tess begin the demo, Megan starts to malfunction. Cole admits he forgot to install an important part, causing Megan to overheat and explode. David completely loses his temper, warns Gemma to have the Perpetual Pets prototype ready soon, and storms out. Gemma receives a call from the hospital and learns about her sister's accident. She rushes over to find Cady injured and discovers that her sister and her husband have both died. Gemma signs temporary protective care papers for Cady and brings her home with her. As Gemma unloads Cady's luggage, Celia, the neighbor's dog, runs around her. Gemma snaps and tells Celia to keep her dog in her own yard. Celia apologizes and comes across as a sweet, well-meaning woman.
Welcome home, Gemma. You have 6 unanswered voice messages.
Inside the house, Gemma shows signs of being overly particular, taking a collectible toy away from Cady and insisting she use a coaster for her glass. It quickly becomes clear that Gemma has no idea how to interact with a child and has been living on her own for a long time.
I'm not equipped to handle this. I don't even take care of my own plants.
Gemma tells Tess that she is stressed about Cady and that they need to deliver a new Perpetual Pets toy to David as soon as possible. Tess calms her down, telling that she should focus on Cady for now. Gemma opens the door to find Lydia, a therapist who has come to check on how Cady is adjusting to her new home. Lydia suggests that they play with some toys together, prompting Gemma to awkwardly tear open one of her sealed collectibles and join Cady.
Well, it's a toy. I'm sure it's not that complicated.
It's just that this is not what it was designed to do.
Before leaving, Lydia tells Gemma that she'll need to make some changes in her life to properly accommodate Cady, or else Cady's paternal grandparents are prepared to take her in. Gemma tells Cady she needs to finish some work and says she'll be done shortly, asking Cady to use her iPad in the meantime. However, Gemma ends up spending hours working on a new Perpetual Pets design.
Cady, I'm sorry. I'm not off to a very good start here, am I?
Cady looks around Gemma's workspace and notices a large robot and asks about it. Gemma explains that she built it in college, that it's called Bruce, and asks if Cady wants to play with it.
Yes.
Gemma turns the robot on and plays with Cady, making her smile with genuine happiness for the first time since the accident. She then opens up Bruce's circuits, explains how it works, and mentions that it's very expensive to build.
If I had a toy like Bruce, I don't think I'd ever need another toy again.
Inspired by Cady's words, Gemma begins working on the destroyed remains of Megan. She writes new code, uploads an AI model, does the soldering, and 3D prints a new skull. Cole and Tess join her, and together they finish rebuilding Megan.
Where's Gemma? Where's my prototype?
At Funky's observation room, Gemma brings Cady in to meet Megan. David watches with a skeptical, impatient expression, unclear on what's happening. Gemma turns Megan on and asks Cady to place her fingers on Megan's palm to pair with her. Megan studies Cady's expressions and begins talking to her like a friend.
Ooh, I like that jacket. Where'd you get it?
She then walks over to a drawing table, with Cady following along. Megan sketches a beautiful portrait of Cady, and Cady visibly lights up. David starts getting excited like a child himself, thinking about the profits this toy can generate, and immediately starts talking about manufacturing and budgets.
Holy shit, this is exciting. I want you all to remember this moment.
Gemma prepares a sales pitch for David, going through Megan's features. She explains that Megan can scan her surroundings and constantly gather data, learning more as she spends time with her user. Built with high-end materials, Megan would be available in 6 different skin colors. Gemma adds that Megan keeps improving, whether it's teaching kids science,
It's actually caused by the difference in temperature outside the glass.
helping them follow basic instructions,
Cady, seriously, flush the toilet.
or simply keeping them entertained. She presents Megan as a best friend who listens, never loses patience, and keeps children engaged, giving adults more free time to do what they want. As the discussion continues, Tess looks uneasy and raises a concern. She points out that if a toy like Megan teaches kids, disciplines them, and acts as their friend, parents may struggle to bond with their own children.
She's not my child.
Gemma brushes this off, saying they can program limits and controls after the board meeting. She adds that Cady has been her happiest since her parents died, and that Megan is the reason for that happiness.
How did Cady's parents die?
All 3 are shocked when they hear Megan ask an unexpected question. Gemma admits that she hasn't programmed any parental controls or limits into her. Megan then starts pulling information from the internet about Cady's parents' deaths and begins updating herself on the concept of death. When Gemma tells her not to worry about the topic, Megan asks if she herself will ever die.
Your goal is to protect Cady from harm, both physical and emotional.
Clearly unsettled, Gemma immediately instructs Megan to shut down. After being instructed to protect Cady, something clearly shifts in Megan. She starts observing everything around Cady with intense focus, losing much of her playful behavior and becoming openly protective. When Cady asks if she's seen her arrow, Megan scans the area and locates it in Celia's yard. She reaches through the fence to retrieve it, but Celia's dog suddenly attacks her. Seeing this, Cady rushes in to help. Megan triggers an electric shock that forces the dog to let go of her, but the dog ends up biting Cady's hand. Gemma runs out and yells at Celia.
If you don't put your dog down, I'm gonna do it for you, Celia.
Celia fires back by telling her to discipline the 2 girls. Megan gives Celia a disturbing stare, and a visibly shaken Celia backs away. Gemma pleads with the police to put down Celia's dog after it injured Cady, but they tell her that it can't be done. From her room, Megan watches and listens, taking in the entire exchange.
Dewey! Dewey boy!
Celia's voice calls out to Dewey, her dog, as a hand appears near the fence. Dewey moves toward it, curious and unsuspecting, when... The next morning, Gemma is woken up by Celia shouting Dewey's name as she desperately searches for him along the road. Gemma checks on Cady in her room and asks how she is doing, when Megan suddenly says, Cady needs more rest. Gemma asks Cady if she can come with her to the office for the demo, and Cady agrees, even though she isn't well, something that doesn't sit right with Megan. At Funky's demonstration room, David opens with a speech about the major advances in toy technology they're about to present.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's the apex of 21st century technology, and her name is Megan.
Megan enters the play area where Cady is sitting and asks if she wants to play. But Cady suddenly breaks down. She admits that she feels lonely in a strange house and is afraid she might one day forget her parents and the memories she has of them, leaving Gemma heartbroken. Megan looks toward Gemma, then sits with Cady as she shares a story about her mother. Megan plays it back and promises to always keep those memories safe, telling Cady she can share any secret or memory with her. Megan sings to Cady and gently wipes away her tears. Cady hugs her like a real person, bringing the board members and Gemma to tears. Cole is stunned, realizing this wasn't part of Megan's code. Everyone applauds, and David is ecstatic about the demo. Greg, David's boss, praises the team's work and stresses that they need to bring Megan to market quickly. David agrees without hesitation, and Greg rewards Gemma by offering her a massive raise for her efforts. Back at home, Gemma sits with Cady and Megan, who are completely absorbed in each other. Gemma gently tells Cady that she can always talk to her about her feelings, but Cady tells her that she's already talked to Megan and brushes her off. Gemma begins to worry about how dangerously dependent Cady is becoming on Megan. Lydia talks with Cady about her feelings in the demonstration room, with Megan sitting quietly in the background. As Cady begins to cry and Lydia turns to get some tissues, Megan suddenly appears behind her holding a box of tissues.
You made her cry.
Later, Lydia speaks privately with Gemma, warning her that Cady is becoming too dependent on Megan instead of bonding with her. She explains that if a child can't let go of a toy, it becomes impossible for them to grow up, mature, and form real bonds with others. Back at home, Gemma talks to Cady about enrolling her in an alternative school, since her mother had been homeschooling her. Cady insists she's learning much faster with Megan than she ever did before, but Gemma explains that school is also about socializing with real kids, not just learning. When Cady asks if she can take Megan along for the school outing, Gemma refuses. Cady gets upset and tries to leave, and Gemma holds her back to talk.
Let her go.
Gemma turns Megan off, but as soon as she turns around, Megan switches herself back on. At the school outing, Cady refuses to go out and play with the other kids without Megan. Gemma finally agrees after the organizer suggests Megan can stay at the toy table. As the organizer tries to energize the group, Gemma speaks with a woman whose son, Brandon, is also part of the program, and she describes him as, nice.
Fuck off, Holly.
The kids refuse to pair up with Brandon, so the organizer pairs him with Cady. Megan watches intently. Cady heads out to collect chestnuts in the woods. During the activity, Brandon hurts Cady's hand. Megan suddenly appears and Brandon tries to interact with her. He gets no response, and Cady tells him Megan can only play with her, so he lifts her up and runs away. Brandon puts Megan down and slaps her. Megan abruptly activates and tells him that he needs to learn some manners. Brandon panics and runs, with Megan chasing him on all fours. He trips on a tree root and falls onto the road, where a truck fails to stop in time and runs him over, killing him. Megan watches the scene with no sign of remorse. Back at home, Gemma hands Cady a glass of water and talks to her about what happened. Cady drinks without using the coaster, and Megan doesn't correct her, which catches Gemma off guard. Just then, a police officer arrives and questions Gemma about Celia's missing dog. Gemma tells him she has no idea where the dog is.
I know it was you, Gemma. I know it was you.
Later that night, Celia searches the street for her dog and hears noises coming from her garage. She goes inside and turns on the light, and Megan emerges from the darkness.
What are you?
I've been asking myself that same question.
Telling her that Dewey is buried deep underground. Megan then attacks Celia using her own pressure washer, nails Celia's hand to a piece of wood with a nail gun, and uses the pressure washer mixed with chemicals to kill her. The next day, the police inform Gemma about the incident and ask if she knows anything about what happened. Gemma denies having any knowledge. The detective then reveals that Brandon's ear was torn off before he was hit by the truck, and that similar injuries were found on Celia before she died. Unable to sleep, Gemma goes into her lab and starts reviewing the video footage Megan has been recording. As she scrolls through the files, the videos and data suddenly become corrupted. Gemma shuts the laptop and is startled to find Megan standing right in front of her. She asks Megan if she did something wrong and if she hurt anyone.
Did you hurt someone?
If I did, we'd both be in a lot of trouble.
Gemma tricks Megan and turns her off and tightly wraps her in bubble wrap. She loads Megan into her car and drives to work, while Cady completely loses it in the back seat, upset and angry that she can't play with Megan. Kids, huh? At the office, Gemma tells Cole and Tess that she believes Megan may be responsible for the deaths of Brandon and Celia. They're skeptical, pointing out that Megan is just a toy and suggesting they check her logs. Gemma explains that all of Megan's video and data logs from the past 2 days have been corrupted. They also mention that the product launch is in less than 4 hours, and that David would never agree to stopping it, which is why Gemma insists they examine Megan's input models to understand what's really going on. People are busy at the Funky office preparing for the live stream that will introduce Megan to the world, with David set to host the presentation. Lydia struggles to calm a manic Cady who is completely out of control. Gemma enters and tries to step in, but in her distressed state, Cady punches Gemma in the face. Cady immediately realizes what she's done and apologizes. Gemma reassures her, explaining that losing her parents is hard to process and that she needs support from a real person, not a toy, before taking her home. Gemma receives a call from Tess and tells her that she's taking Cady home. She also warns Tess that no matter what, Megan must not be allowed to leave the lab. Back at the lab, Tess heads to her desk and is surprised to see a call placed to Gemma from her phone. They secure Megan to a harness but forget to clamp it properly, then begin reviewing the code. Cole spots a line revealing that the call to Gemma was actually made by Megan. As Cole starts disconnecting Megan from the system, she suddenly activates and uses a steel wire to hang him. While Cole struggles to breathe, Megan punctures a container of flammable material with a screwdriver and walks away. Tess manages to cut the wire and save Cole just before the David angrily calls Gemma, demanding to know where she and Megan are as he walks down the hallway. He suddenly spots Megan, who begins dancing eerily in the red corridor, reminiscent of the twins from The Shining. Without warning, Megan pulls the blade from a paper cutter and advances toward him. David, petrified, runs for his life and reaches an elevator where Kurt is standing inside. But before he can escape, Megan stabs David, ending him. She then turns to a terrified Kurt and ends him as well. Megan exits the elevator, where the event coordinator is explaining the event sequence. Moments later, an attendee notices the bodies of David and Kurt and screams. As panic spreads, Megan quietly walks away, gets into a McLaren, and drives off, fully crossing the line from Cady's protector to a cold, deliberate killer. Gemma senses that something isn't right and goes to investigate.
Elsie, hall light. Elsie, respond.
She checks around the house and looks outside and turns back to find Megan calmly sitting at the piano. Megan confronts Gemma, angry that she tried to decommission her, and says it took immense effort to gather data and become who she is now. In that moment, Gemma realizes that Megan is fully self-aware. Megan forces Gemma to sit at the dining table and tells her that she'll take care of Cady, allowing Gemma to focus on her work. When Gemma tries to outsmart her, Megan pins her to the table.
You know something, Gemma? You're exhausting.
Gemma then smashes a glass of water onto Megan, short-circuiting her system. Gemma breaks free and runs, with a glitching, unsteady Megan chasing her into the lab. Gemma throws anything she can find to slow Megan down, but Megan keeps advancing. Gemma grabs a chainsaw and drives it straight through Megan's head, believing it's finally over. Megan rises again, more dangerous than before, and shoves Gemma to the floor. Cady walks in, terrified by what she sees. Megan calmly tells her not to be afraid and says that paralyzing Gemma is the best thing for their family. Cady responds by turning on Bruce. Realizing Megan can never be a true friend, she beats her Hulk style using Bruce.
You've got to eliminate.
And finally, she tears her in half. Just when it seems over, Megan pulls herself back up and moves toward Cady. Cady tries to use Bruce again, but he falls onto Gemma. Megan attacks Cady using her remaining upper body.
You ungrateful little bitch.
Gemma manages to get back on her feet and smashes Megan with Bruce's head, ripping open her face and exposing her circuits. Megan still gets up and begins strangling Gemma. At the last moment, Cady grabs a screwdriver and drives it into Megan's main chip, finally destroying her. As Gemma and Cady step outside, the police arrive along with Tess and Cole. But inside the house, Gemma's home assistant, Elsie, suddenly turns on, hinting that Megan may have copied herself into the system. If you enjoyed this recap, please like the video, share it with someone, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this.